Welcome to another episode of Dating App Disaster Stories podcast talk show, where we discuss all the fun and crazy dating stories that you love. Now, we've all heard some wild dating stories, right? But some are more than just tales you tell your mates. They're basically case studies. Today, we're diving into a date that is so unbelievably bad, it's actually a masterclass in what never to do. Honestly, you won't believe this one, but the lessons, oh, they're pure gold.
Right. Yep, you heard that? So, darling, have you ever considered an enema? I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is a genuine question asked on a first date. In a cafe. You can't make this stuff up. This one sentence is pretty much the peak, the glorious, cringy peak of one of the weirdest dates we have ever dissected. So how on earth did we get to this point? Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay, so our story starts with a match. His name was Bartholomew, or Barty, as he made sure to point out. His dating profile was, and I'm not exaggerating, a total shrine to gut health. So, a few little red flags were already fluttering in the breeze. Then he rocks up 15 minutes late, not because of traffic, oh no. It was because, and I quote, he had to optimize his mitochondrial function with a pre-date cold plunge. Of course he did.
Right, so he sits down, and his opening line, it wasn't hello or sorry I'm late. Nope, it was a full, detailed description of his morning, bowel movements. Blimey. Before anyone had even thought about ordering a coffee, she was getting a full report on color, consistency, the whole shebang. You can just imagine the internal scream, can't you? He really set the tone for the date. And let me tell you, that tone was deeply uncomfortable.
So, things can only get better from there, right? Wrong. His date tries to order a simple latte. A totally normal thing to do, and Barty just scoffs at her. He actually called it an inflammatory route. But it gets worse. He then decides he knows best and orders for her a disgusting spirulina smoothie, apparently for her cellular regeneration. The cheek of it. The disrespect is just staggering, isn't it?
Okay, so after what felt like an eternity of him droning on about the toxic buildup in everyone else in the cafe, the bill finally arrives. Thank goodness. The actual total for her green pond sludge and his fancy activated charcoal water was £12.50. Dead simple. You'd think that would be the end of it, wouldn't you?
But no. Not with Barty. He gets his phone out and does some, well, let's call it creative accounting. He decides her smoothie was a tenner, rounds his own water up to a $5, and then demands she pay the new grand total of 15 quid. And to top it all off, he calls her my detox queen. I mean, the audacity. It's on another planet. At this point, his date is just, as you can imagine, completely gobsmacked. She pays the whole bill just to get the heck out of there. But just as she's making her escape, Barty delivers his final, unforgettable flourish. He offers to, and I'm not joking, palpitate her abdomen right there in the middle of the cafe to check for blockages. What an end to an absolute date from hell.
Right, so that story is absolutely wild, but believe it or not, it's actually an amazing learning opportunity. Barty's catalog of chaos is basically a perfect blueprint of what not to do on a date. So let's actually pick this apart and figure out where it all went so wrong. When you actually list it all out, you can see the pattern, can't you? This wasn't just him being a bit awkward or making one mistake. Every single thing he did, from the inappropriate questions about her insides, to ordering for her, to that bonkers bill calculation, it all comes from the same place, a complete and utter lack of respect. He didn't see her as a person. He wasn't on a date to get to know someone. He was on a mission to convert them. Okay, let's get practical. What do you actually do if you find yourself on a date with a Barty B? It's so easy to just freeze up when someone is being this weird, right? But having a bit of a plan can make all the difference. So here's your survival guide, your escape plan for when a date goes completely sideways. Honestly, the best defense starts before you've even left the house. Think of this as your non-negotiable checklist. Number 1, always meet in a public place. 2, sort out your own way to get there and back. 3, tell a friend where you're going and who you're meeting. And 4, have that classic bailout plan ready to go, like a code word text to a mate. Look, it's not about being paranoid. It's just about being smart and making sure you're in control.
And what about when you're actually on the date? The number 1 rule is trust your gut. If something feels off, it's because it is off. And please remember this, you do not have to stay somewhere out of politeness. Your comfort is way more important than their feelings. especially if they're being a Barty. And hey, like our poor hero in this story, sometimes chucking a tenner on the table is the quickest price you'll pay for freedom. Then get out of there, unmatch, block, and never think of them again.
Okay, let's just flip things around for a second. What if it's you? What if you're the one who says something a bit awkward or makes a mistake? It doesn't have to be a total disaster. Unlike our mate Barty, who just kept digging himself deeper, you can actually recover from a blunder. It all just boils down to a bit of self-awareness.
Just look at the difference here. Barty's approach was to completely ignore how uncomfortable she was and just double down on the weirdness. The right way? It's pretty simple, really. First, actually notice their reaction. Are they looking uncomfortable? Then just apologize. A proper, sincere apology, no excuses, maybe a little joke at your own expense to show you're not taking yourself too seriously. And then, and this is key, change the subject. Move on to something normal.
So, we've made it through this saga of Bartholomew and his digestive tract. What's the big lesson here? What's the one thing we need to take away from all this madness? It's actually really, really simple. And here it is. This is the whole thing in a nutshell. The ultimate red flag isn't that someone has weird interests or bad taste. The real problem, the thing you can't ignore, is a lack of respect for your boundaries. Barty being obsessed with wellness wasn't the issue. The issue was that he had zero respect for her choices, her comfort, her personal space, even her money. That right there is the red flag that matters more than anything else. So I'll leave you with this to think about. After hearing the story of Barty, what's the one red flag, that one little sign of disrespect, that you are absolutely never, ever going to ignore again? Well, we hope you enjoyed another one of our episodes, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.